Hello, everyone. I'm Reiki Master Sharon, and this is the Lionsgate Abundance Portal ceremony. And I'm so happy that you're watching this with me today. So, I want to just kind of talk a little bit about what I know about abundance. And I know that for me, the most fulfilling abundance that we can experience is when we're in alignment with the will of the Creator. There are other ways to have abundance, but a lot of times people feel very empty in those. But when we are fulfilling our soul's purpose and really leaning into our divine blueprint of why we came here and what we're doing to experience this reality, things seem to show up in ways that we can't describe and are just really miraculous. And I'm sure a lot of you have had, you know, instances where that's happened in your life too. So that's kind of where I wanted to start because we are all abundant beings. And it's not whether or not you are abundant, you are abundant. It's just some of us are experiencing that abundance in different ways. Sometimes it's an abundance of lack, and sometimes it's an abundance of prosperity, and sometimes it's an abundance of love, and sometimes it's an abundance of joy. So there are multiple different ways and different levels that we experience abundance. And I believe that if it's in alignment with what God has for us, because there are certain times where we experience things that we might not see as optimal or very fun to experience, but they're there for a divine reason and they're there for our soul's growth. But I do believe that if we can see something in our future, that there is a possibility for us to align with it. So that's why I think it's so important for us to really have a good hold on our intuition and our discernment, because that intuition and discernment is what's going to lead us to those breadcrumbs that Spirit is giving us to really align with that openness of abundance. So let's see here. Basically, if something is meant for you, you can't mess it up. If there's something that the divine has for you to experience, there's going to be multiple times where that comes back around and gives you another opportunity to get it right. And that could go on for the rest of your life and even into the next lifetime if you don't do it in this lifetime. But it's always going to be there for you to experience if it's meant for you. And things are never a loss, they're just a lesson. So if you are sad about something that you've lost, maybe it's a job, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a relationship, a lot of times those things aren't really losses. They're just things for us to grow from. Maybe those people were just supposed to be there for you in a season of your life and not the whole thing. And especially if you're watching this video and you align with my energy, there are probably multiple times where you jumped timelines and left people behind. And it's really hard to maintain relationships with people who aren't soul based, who aren't in alignment with your soul frequency. And when we do find these people, it's very refreshing because a lot of us have felt very alone in that, because you start to look back and you're like, man, I've had all of these relationships that have meant so much to me, and they've kind of fallen away. It's okay. But
Sorry.
I mean, do you resonate with that, April? Has
Yes,
that
I do.
happened? Okay.
Sorry.
No, no worries. So before we get into the ceremony, I just kind of want to tap into some wisdom that God has given us in the book of Proverbs. and just kind of listen to what God has to say about prosperity and abundance and things of that nature. So the first one is, am I seeking knowledge and counsel? And the scripture is, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. Proverbs 12:15. So I'm not saying that you should take advice from just anyone, but people who are experienced, people that have more knowledge than you, that you trust and that you feel that you can trust, it is very beneficial for us to learn from these people. And it can also really stop us from a lot of heartache, because if we have someone in our life or someone that we know that we can go to, that we know has done the thing that we want to do and has experienced the thing that we want to do, then they kind of have a little bit more knowledge there of where you're wanting to go in that plane. They're kind of looking down on your situation from a higher perspective to be able to give you better advice. But there are also times where your way might be a little bit different than how they've experienced it, because how they experienced it may not have been the same timeline, like they could be cultivating from another energy. But that's where discernment comes in, and intuition, because you will know when it's coming from a place of ego and when it's coming from a place of alignment. So ego feels more like resentment. You feel like a kid who's being told what to do and you're rejecting it. But if it's in alignment or out of alignment with what you're trying to come up, it's going to feel a lot more calm. It's going to feel like that just doesn't feel right. It's not resonating with me. But there are things that you can learn from these people that may be beneficial for you. All of our journeys are vastly different, but that's why, it's good not to try to judge, because, you know, that person could look at you and think that they know what's best for you when you're kind of listening to your own intuition. So the next one is, am I acting hastily? Desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way? Proverbs 19:2. So this is like, have I taken the time to understand the full picture? Is this really what I want to experience? Because sometimes when we're rushed into making a decision, it can throw us off of our path. It's kind of like that whole used car salesman thing where they're like, we're not going to tell you too much about the car. We're just going to be like, oh, there's someone else that's coming to buy it. It might not be here when you get back. Hurry up and make a decision. And you can get yourself in a lot of trouble that way, because you're trying to, you know, listen. You're trying to listen to your intuition, but it's being clouded by this rush. And it's always good to look at a situation from every part and just kind of think like, hey, is this good for me? And just be able to quiet your mind and tap in, because you know these things don't necessarily like take us out, but they can cause unnecessary damage to our pockets. But the good thing is, when we're in alignment with God, He does get us out of that.
I need a plug.
I'm sorry?
Oh, sorry. I
Oh,
didn't talk to you. I thought I was on mute.
oh, it's okay.
Looking for my
So
phone.
the next one is, do my words reflect wisdom? The tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of the fool gushes folly. Proverbs 15:2. So this is really just speaking to how wisdom amplifies knowledge. And it is important for us to speak things in a way where people are receptive to it. That is so much more powerful when we can speak to the hearts of men and let it sink in here instead of just in our head. And semantics can be so powerful because the way you say things really, you have to have wisdom in what you're saying. You have to have discernment in whether or not the person is willing and ready to accept what you're trying to tell them. Because if they're not ready yet, they're going to have that resentment towards you. So sometimes it's almost better to wait for people to come to you with things. So that way they feel like they have more control over it and they don't feel like they're being dumped on, to say it in the best way that I can at this moment. But the way that we speak, the way that we say things are very important and very powerful because when we're trying to build abundance, when we're trying to build up a brand or a business or a reputation with people, it's very powerful for us to have a good rapport with them, to be respectful with them, to know that your reputation is going to speak for itself. So the next one is, am I ignoring past lessons? As a dog returns to its own vomit, so fools repeat their folly. Proverbs 26:11. So this kind of speaks to, are you listening to your body? Are you listening to your spirit? And are you listening to what it's telling you? Because there are a lot of people who do get very numb to these kinds of things and they start doing things that are very detrimental to their health and they don't even realize it. And it does affect their spirit on some level as well. Because if you're in pain all the time, how are you going to be pleasurable with anybody else? It's very difficult to be in pain and still be happy or have energy or do the things that you want to do or create the things that you want to create. And it's very good to reflect on these things and ask yourself, am I giving my body what it needs to be abundant? Am I giving my body what it needs to feel loved, to feel supported, to feel nourished? Am I giving myself rest? Am I pushing myself to burnout? These things are all very important because there's a balance that needs to be had in being a good steward with your abundance as well. So the next one is, am I resisting discipline or correction? Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:7. So this is like, was I cautioned, but I didn't listen? Can I choose to make a better decision? There are times where, like, there were times where I felt God tell me that I should be more cautious before I jump into something. And I was just like, well, I really want to experience this, so I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to tell you right now, that did not end well for me at all. So I'm just going to say, if you know that God is telling you, you probably don't want to go down that road, he might let you go down that road for a while. But at some point, he's going to be like, okay, that's enough. We're going another direction now. And if you're stubborn like me, it can be very, well, as I was. I'm not as stubborn as I used to be. I've learned. I've learned to listen to that voice now. But before, before I was stubborn, and it can feel very chaotic. And that uproot and that upheaval is just, it can be scary, but always know that if that is happening, it's because God is loving you so much that he's redirecting you in another direction. He said, You've spent your time here, I let you do your thing for a while, but you got other things to do. I got better things for you to do. You can't stay here." And we do have free will in a certain aspect. When you are God's and you have decided that you're living your life for God and he has something that he needs you to do, it's there's no question. You just know. And he's going to make it so clear, but he will allow you to learn that lesson as well. And that is also a blessing because, if I didn't have those things that happened to me, then I probably wouldn't be able to relate to so many people in certain things that have happened in my life or have the testimony that I have to say that I got out of it alive, you know? So these things can be very powerful and they work for his kingdom too. So even when we mess up, God comes in with that last minute save and makes your story better. And I think that's super powerful because we are all like, I believe that a lot of times we hold ourselves back from doing the things that we love and we want to do because we're afraid to mess up. We're afraid to make the wrong decision. But isn't it so great to know that even if you make the wrong decision, God is going to have you? Like, that's just amazing. So when you're going forward with this, because sometimes we think we want to experience things that maybe once we get it, we might not actually want to experience it. Just know that you're not a tree and you can move. You can change your mind and switch directions and uproot yourself and go somewhere else. You don't have to be rooted in whatever you decide to do. And you deserve to be happy and you deserve to experience the things that you want to experience. And God is going to love you through all of it. So the next one is, will this bring peace or trouble? A fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. So this one is very important because everything that we speak is constantly molding our reality. So if you are speaking negatively about yourself, like I was saying that I was stubborn, which I took that back. And I'm not perfect with it either. But, there are certain things that we say, and these cast spells on our life. And they can be very detrimental to our reality especially if we're actively co-creating with a creator. We don't want to bring things into our reality that are going to bring us more pain or more lessons because I think at this point we've all had our fair share, right? We all went through 2020 and all the craziness that's going on in the world now. But, when we say things like, I'm dumb or I'm stupid or, oh, I never win or all of these things, our body, our soma listens to that and it says, okay, you're right. Okay, you're right. You are stupid. Okay, you're right. You don't win. And you're basically setting yourself up to fail. And it also goes with, this is one thing that people don't think about. When you talk about other people and how they are, that also your body doesn't know the difference. So if you're saying someone is stupid or blah, 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 then your body thinks that you're saying it about yourself and you're experiencing that as well. So that's why a lot of times people say that it's very dangerous to do black magic, because when you're doing something onto someone else, you're doing it to yourself too. So that's why it's also good to, like, if you have a situation where you felt hurt or something by somebody else, that you just send your cares and your worries to God in love and light, and hope for their praying for their healing, and making sure that you're allowing God to judge that accordingly. Because if you take that on your own, then you're going to have the repercussions for it. So, you know, try not to, like, and it's hard sometimes because we've been conditioned to hear these things so much as we're growing up, like when people get mad or people get angry, and it's easy to fall back into it. But I just want to kind of encourage you guys, if you see someone doing something that you don't agree with, maybe instead of saying that person's stupid or that person's an asshole, you say, hey, that person was acting like an asshole in that moment. Or, hey, that person did something that wasn't very smart. Or that person did something that could have hurt themselves, right? That way, we're not saying that the person is those things. We're saying that the action or what happened is not great. We're still acknowledging it, but in a different way, right? In a way that we're not condemning the person. We're saying that wasn't very smart, or that hurt me, you know, or wow, that could have been very reckless to do it that way, or acknowledging that it could have been done in a better way. But it is also very powerful to think of people in a better light as well. Because just because someone has a record of being that way doesn't mean that they have to continue being that way. People can change. Like, I've done things where if I hear somebody saying something or acting in a certain way, I'll start thinking of different ways of how that could change, or other instances to where it could be better. And sometimes it actually happens that way, and it's miraculous. You're just like, wow, that actually shifted the energy. Because when we are really getting to that point of being connected with God and getting to that higher vibrational level, like, we have so much more power than we know. And when you realize that this is all just a matrix, and that obviously people have free will, but you're opening up a door for them to have another experience that is better for them. So they'll even feel that when they're around you. And a lot of times it's going to make them want to be around you more, because they'll see that they might be a better person around you rather than what they're used to around other people. And let's see here, where are we at? Did we do Am I Ignoring Past Lessons? No, we did that one. Well, okay. So, will this bring peace or trouble? All right. Does it honor God's ways? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 9:10. Would I feel comfortable coming to God with this in prayer? So, we really want to look at the decisions that we're making in our lives and look at them in a moral way, and say, okay, if I'm going to decide to do this, would God be happy with that? Because if we take just a moment to ask ourselves that question, then we can probably save ourselves a whole lot of heartache. Because if the answer is no, God probably wouldn't want me to do that, then you should probably look for another way to do it. And if you ask for God to show you another way to do it, if you feel like you're stuck, chances are if you stay silent enough and you ask it enough, he's going to give you an answer. You'll feel it. You'll hear it coming into your mind, and you'll just be like, wow, where did that come from? I didn't even think about that way, right? And this is where, intuition and discernment really comes from. And I know there are people who feel disconnected from it or aren't sure how to tap into it, but it's natural for each and every one of us. It's the natural way of being for us as human beings and energetic beings. It's just sometimes people have more, they've exercised it more, right? It's like a muscle. And once you use it more and more, you become more comfortable with it. So the best way to do that is to ask questions, right? So I think, or do you have any questions before we move on? No? Okay. All right. So now we're going to kind of just go into the meditation. So I'd like you to just kind of relax, get into a comfortable position, and you can close your eyes. And we will start here in just a second. Let me see. All right. So I'm going to have you guys go ahead and just breathe in through your nose, deep into your belly, and out through your mouth completely. And in through your nose, deep into your belly, and out through your mouth completely. And in through your nose, deep into your belly, and out through your mouth completely. Go ahead and feel all the tension in your body just melting away with every exhale. Go ahead and feel into your body. Breathe into the areas where you feel tension and exhale that tension. Now I'd like you to bring your awareness to the top of your head and imagine a bright, brilliant white light radiating in this area. Go ahead and breathe into your crown chakra. And I want you to imagine a golden cord going from the top of your head all the way into the heavens and connecting with God, the Creator, Source, and thank Him for this connection. Now I'd like you to drop down into your third eye chakra. This is the area right in between your eyebrows. And I want you to imagine it illuminating with beautiful indigo purple light. Go ahead and breathe into this area. This is your area of intuition and discernment. This is the area where you connect with your angels and spirit and your guides, God. And I want you to just take a minute to thank your angels and your spirit guides and God for always being there for you. I'd like us to drop down into our throat chakra. I'd like you to breathe into that area. Imagine it being illuminated with a royal blue light. This is our bridge between the physical and the spiritual realm. This is where we speak our desires into existence. I'd like you to just breathe into that area, releasing any blocks. And I'd like you to drop down into your heart chakra. Feel it, see it being illuminated with a beautiful green light. Go ahead and feel into this area. Go ahead and breathe into this area. This is our connection to others. And connection to others is so important for building and creating bigger things. There are so many people who love you and support you. There are so many people who want to see your creations being brought into this physical reality. If you don't know where they are yet, right now I want you to know that they are coming. And I want you to thank them. And thank God for bringing these people into your life. Now I'd like you to drop down into your solar plexus chakra. This is the area right at the top of your abdomen, right below your rib cage. And I'd like you to imagine it being illuminated with a brilliant yellow light. I'd like you to breathe into this area. And this is your area of confidence and courage. And this is the area that is really going to allow you to have the courage to bring your visions into reality. I'd like to take a minute to thank Zachariah and Jupiter for the abundance that we are aligning with. Now we're going to drop down into our sacral chakra. And this is the area right in between your navel and your pelvic bone. And this is our womb of creation. I'd like you to imagine it being illuminated with a brilliant orange light. This is our seat of passion, of creativity. This is where things are birthed into existence. I just want to take a second to thank Hanael and Venus for being with us. Now we're going to drop down into our root chakra. This is located in our tailbone area, pelvic area. I want you to imagine it being illuminated with a bright red light. This is where we ground. This is where the action takes place. This is where we put one foot in front of the other and create. This is where we birth things into reality. And at this time, I'd like to call in our angels to protect us as we enter the Lion's Gate portal. Archangel Hanael, keeper of love and harmony, please accompany us as we go through this threshold. Archangel Zaphael, steward of prosperity and expansion, please be with us now. Archangel Michael, protector of truth and purpose, please protect us with your sword of truth as we enter the Lion's Gate portal. Archangel Metatron, keeper of the dimensions and of our divine blueprint, please be with us now and keep us safe. As we enter these 4 activating flames, please be with us and keep us safe. I want you to imagine your energy floating far into the heavens. You see the sun. I want you to connect with the sun's energy at this time. The sun is a wonderful guardian of our planet. It's a wonderful steward. It gives us healing, vitamin D, so that we can heal ourselves. It helps growth on our planet. Every living thing grows with the help of the sun. And I just want you to take a minute to connect with its energy and let it activate you. Now I'd like you to imagine floating into the heavens, past Orion's belt. We are now coming up to the Lion's Gate portal. I want you to imagine the gate. See the twin lions that are guarding it. They know that our souls are pure, and they're happy to let us pass, with our archangels protecting us and guiding us in all of our ways. I want you to see our spiritual sun of Sirius, glowing with a brilliant white and blue light. This star, it remembers us. It remembers us before the fall, before the pain, before the trauma. It holds recollection of our DNA imprint. I want you to allow it to activate you, to purify you. I want you to imagine your DNA strands, all 72 pairs, spiraling in a helix. Allow the light of Sirius to purify each and every strand of your being. Let it bring you back to this factory reset. Breathe into this now. Thank you so much, Sirius. Thank you for your activation. Remembering our true being. Now we're going to connect with the constellation of Leo. Leo is here to activate us in courage and bravery and self-love and knowing that we have a divine purpose. Leo supports us in this moment with its fierce lion energy. Thank you so much, Leo, for your activation. Thank you so much, Sun, for the nourishment and growth. We are now traveling further, deep into the heavens, to align with the Creator. I want you to be immersed in this beautiful light. We are now stepping in to the refiner's fire. God, Creator, you know us on such a deep level, and we trust you at this time to refine our spirit, to refine our DNA, to refine our body. Please burn away everything that is no longer meant for us, that is no longer serving our greatest good. Please illuminate these things in our path. Make it so abundantly obvious when something is not for us. Thank you so much for your faithfulness and protection. I want you to go ahead and breathe in this energy. Breathe in this light. God, may people see you within us. May it be amplified at this time. Please amplify this energy for us. Please bring this energy out. May your light go far past our cities, far past our states, far past our countries, far past our planets, and deep into the universes, deep into the heavens. God, may no one question that we are yours. Thank you so much for this refinement. an activation. I want you to bring your awareness back into this physical reality, back in to the 3D, back to Earth. And slowly begin to feel yourself in your body. You can begin to open your eyes. Oh, that was powerful. How are you feeling? I know you're trying to unmute.
I feel good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was very powerful. It was, yeah, I could feel the energy.
Awesome. What did you experience? Would you like to share?
I get visions when I get when I start doing meditation. So normally when stuff like that starts to happen, I try and stay still, but it's hard for me because I get these feelings like all across my head. I'll feel each chakra start to open up. So then I can feel basically I can feel and see the energy centers and then normally the it was very powerful. The energy goes out and normally I can feel myself drifting off and I'll start seeing and this one I did the helixes and pyramids and I'll start to feel it and I'll start to see I saw a cord so, I get a lot of different interesting feelings that start to come up, and then I have to shift my body a little bit to shift around the energy. But it was good. I see a lot of flashing lights too. Whenever I start to go into meditation, it just starts flashing. So
Oh,
very, very cool, very intense. I always see a white light when I go into that area with God and source. So
mhm.
it's always like the flashing and then it gets really, really bright. So and then I can feel the warmth and then like the loving feeling.
Awesome. And I do want to say thank you so much to our angels for guiding us through that meditation because I love feeling their energy too. And
Yeah,
I'm so thankful for them as well.
absolutely.
And yes. Oh, wow. And I know that I did this meditation yesterday, and the recording didn't go through from Zoom for people who are watching the replay. But oh man, I still feel it. It feels like such a light feeling just above my eyes, you know,
Hmm.
and I can feel it. I can feel the energy in my ears.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my goodness. I love being able to connect with our spirit guides and this energy and the creator. It's
Hmm.
just such a amazing thing to experience. And I really wish more people knew that we could do it. you know?
Right. I do too. Please don't believe it's real.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, hopefully more people, I do think that more people are starting to, you know, realize that they can do these things.
Right.
And I think that's going to be so powerful for the collective when people start to realize that they can do these things.
Right.
And, people are really going to start stepping into their power once they do. So, if you're watching this in the replay, feel free to do this guided meditation whenever you feel like you need it. If you need another little pick me up, you know. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here with me. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And if you guys like this meditation, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I'd love to see you next time.